I'm Ty.
And I'm Cass, and we're the Walburns.
Cassandra, why did we want to start this YouTube channel?
We basically started it because we're in COVID, so a lot of our family and friends don't really know our whole birth story, which is a crazy one, so everyone needs to know it. We pretty much just need people to know what's going on in our lives and Nora's.
Yeah, we feel like, especially right now, it's very important for us to stay connected with everyone, and this is a fun way for us to go over, how we're doing and our birth story.
Yeah.
Well, it's not our birth story. I was part of it, but
I did a lot of the work of it. So.
I would say that Cass did probably the majority of the work. So, Cass, let's do a little tease. Let's just tease him a little bit, okay?
Let's do it.
What is our baby's name?
Our baby girl's name is Nora Paisley. She's super duper duper cute.
She's very cute.
And she came out 11 pounds.
11 pounds, everybody. So it was a very crazy 48 hours. The pregnancy itself, I think...
It's very simple.
Yeah,
well,
it went by
only because
fast, I think.
We got to chill at home for pretty much the last trimester. So.
Mm-hmm. It was a fun experience though, like just talking about the pregnancy part, like going to the OB, doing the ultrasound for the first time was really a fun experience.
Yeah. And then that was all he got to go to. Everything else was just me. So, COVID for you.
I saw the first trimester and the second trimester. Third one, I just waited in the car.
In the car, yeah. He still came to every appointment, so.
I did.
Yes.
I did go to every appointment.
He's a good husband.
So everyone, listen to beautiful Cass here, is birth story. We hope you do get some value from it and you like our story. It was a crazy one. Even just having the birth during the pandemic was definitely different.
Way different. It would have been 100% different because I would have got my last ultrasound. We would have known a little bit more of how Nora's size was because we didn't have the last ultrasound and it didn't really help the situation. But I'm kind of glad because they probably would have made me do a C-section, which I didn't want to do. So it kind of worked out.
Yeah. Instead, we wanted to have a surprise 11-pound baby and deal with everything that came afterwards. She's beautiful though. Blessings.
Wouldn't change it for the
Blessings.
world.
Alright, so let's get into it.
Yep.
So, July 15th. Run us through what happened.
So, July 15th, started having contractions, I want to say roughly 12:30 at night. Walked around the neighborhood. They started getting pretty heavy, pretty hard. Then we went into the contraction app.
And definitely recommend it, the contraction app.
Yeah. So I was told to roughly wait, once the contractions were about 5 minutes apart, to call the hospital and let them know what the contractions were at. So I called about when they were roughly 5 minutes. I lied a little bit. It was about 6 minutes apart, but I wanted to get to the hospital. And so finally 6 minutes apart, and I called. And then they're like, oh, we can't really do anything right now because it's your first pregnancy. It might take a bit longer than normal because your body's getting used to it and you might not be that much dilated. You might as well just stay at home and hang out there. So I said fine, hung up the phone. Then 10 seconds later, I kid you not, my water broke on the bed. I jumped out of bed. I jumped out of bed and ran into the shower and just stood there because I didn't know what else to do.
What did it feel like?
It literally felt like I don't even know how to explain it.
Like, was it like
it was like drizzling pee down your leg, but not really. But it was just warm gush of water.
Like if you got hit with a water balloon?
Yeah, almost like that, I would say. That's why he's here.
So water broke. You hopped in the shower because you didn't know anywhere else to go. It was just natural water tub.
Yeah, I guess.
Hop in there.
Yeah.
And then you get me to call the doctor
then we
again.
Call the hospital again.
Like this was like 2 minutes apart. Like from when we originally called to when we call now. And what do they tell us?
That we get to come in. So we packed up our stuff, which I already had packed about a month in advance because I'm not a procrastinator.
She's a planner. Yeah, you had the bag packed.
It was packed and in the car. Wasn't even
Oh
like...
yeah, it was in the
Yeah.
car. It was literally in the trunk the whole time.
Not like it was just at the side door. It was in the trunk. Literally for a month, I would say. Yeah. So then we get in the car. Contractions were not that bad. It was like kind of okay. And when we get there, my water broke again in the parking lot. At this point, we went to the Michael Garron Hospital. So when we went there, we parked in the underground where all the construction guys got there. By the time we got there, it was like 5:30 in the morning. So they all were getting there to start their work day.
Yeah, they're doing like construction to the other wing of the hospital.
So we finally get there. Water breaks again. So I had to take off my shorts that I was wearing and walk into the hospital with underwear on. They were like booty short underwear, so it really wasn't like that bad. But
You're rocking it.
I mean, like I was fully pregnant, so it was fine. I was also 5 days late. Forgot to say that.
Yeah.
So I was 5 days late. So I was about to be induced on the Saturday. I think she was born on the Friday. Yes, she was born on the Friday, but
It was a long like.
bare
week.
at night.
Yeah.
So we finally get inside. We get checked in by the nurse. They check how far along I was dilated. I was only 1 centimeter dilated. So they told me that I had to go home. The one nurse asked me if I wanted to get a epidural, which I did. So she put the IV in my hand, and then I got to stay because obviously I can't leave the hospital with an IV in my hand. She liked me. The other nurse tried to get us to go home and wait, and I didn't want to because we don't live that far away, but I would like to not go home. I'd rather just be there where the doctors are.
The hospital did pretty good though. So when we walked into the hospital originally, we had to do the COVID protocol, all the screening questions, and then we had to wear masks the whole time. I wore it the whole time in the hospital. You didn't, obviously during labor, but we had to wear it for the majority of the time, and we, everyone was pretty distant from one another. We actually, at no point did we ever have a room with somebody. And this might be different experiences for other people who have had a baby during this time. One of our fears though was that Cass had to do it by herself. We had a few friends who did actually have to go and
the birth story
do it by themselves.
The birth was way too intense to be at the hospital alone.
I'm happy I got to stay.
It was super nice because I was not doing it by myself. There's no way.
Yeah. Hey, what would you have done though? What if you had to do it?
Well, I guess I would have just done it. I don't know what else to do.
Just tell the 11-pound Nora, just say, stay in there! Or we could have done it at home in the bathtub.
Yeah,
it was already a little wet because of the...
I'm not down. So then, after IV came in, we went to our birthing room, which was bawling.
Oh, it was swanky.
It was nice.
It was swanky.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't have anywhere for him to sleep or sit, really. So he slept on the windowsill with no blanket. He used his Waterloo jacket as a blanket. At first I had it as a pillow, but then I gave it to him.
Yeah. It was okay. I switched between the blanket and the pillow. We were in the birthing unit with your contractions
For a while.
For a while. Like the actual from when we got to the hospital.
It was probably like an hour before I moved into the room. And then we were in there the whole time. The whole other 20 hours that we were at the hospital before Nora was born.
How did the contractions feel at the beginning? Like, what did they feel like?
At first I was like really, really nervous, and I kept asking all my mom friends, shout out mom friends, that what the contractions are gonna feel like. Am I gonna know what it's gonna feel like? How am I supposed to know when it's happening? And they were all like, oh, don't worry, like you'll know. That's pretty much every answer I got, and I was like, okay. That's our dog. For those of you who don't know, that's Miles.
We do have a beautiful baby, but we also have 3 dogs.
We went a little bit crazy previously and didn't really think about the Nora and 3 boys, but it worked out.
Let's circle back here, okay? The contractions.
The contractions.
Yeah. So, what do they feel like?
They literally felt like. They just felt like hard, period, crampy, like really tight in your stomach. Really tight for like a minute or so, and then they let go. And it was fine. And then it would happen again, and I would have to literally hold the wall. At that point I knew it was like, we're going. So then finally we're waiting for the anesthesiologist.
That's a good job. First try.
Yeah, I know. And we're waiting for him to come in to do the epidural. He comes in with a
You got this.
a resident.
Yeah.
With a resident. So he comes in with a resident. The resident actually did the epidural for me and messed up just a teensy little bit. Like literally, like it was like
like a fraction. Like it was so small how off he was, but when they did it, the whole process itself, I feel like
it was very, very
was
strange.
very weird because at the same time, there's this person who was putting a needle into Cass's spine here. I had to hold.
And a
How was I hold like this? I had to hold you like this, and my hands were shaking, and I saw the needle go in, and I feel like it should have been somebody else doing that. Like,
Yeah. But you know, it worked out.
So he missed the first time though. And what happened? And then what happened?
So then the actual guy, the main boss guy, had to redo it, and then he actually did it, and it worked out fine. It was really like, I was very scared for the epidural needle, but it honestly wasn't that bad. And then the main boss guy had to come in and fix it, so he moved over, did his thing, did
and
it.
like literally looking over like,
Yeah. So then, I was actually really scared and nervous for the epidural, and I was like shaky because it's just when you're doing things for the first time, you really don't know what you're getting yourself into until you do it, and then once it's done, you're like, oh, that really wasn't that bad. Like literally, that is like way in the past. I don't even remember what's happening with the needle. Nothing, and I hate needles. So most scared part and literally the least hard part, I guess.
So the contractions started getting closer.
Closer and closer and closer. Then finally, and because of the epidural having to go in twice, I didn't get the full measure of the epidural pain tolerance. What did I get? Like
Yeah,
a
you're
6?
60%.
I got a 6 instead of a 10. So I kept hitting it because it kept coming back. So I would hit the button again, and it would probably last for a bit. So it just kept going and going and going, and then finally, after like the 8th person to check out my vagina VCAS.
The VCAS.
That's what we call it around here. So about the 8th person now to check out my VCAS, finally they said I was like 9 centimeters dilated. At this point it could be like an hour. I started getting like really, really shaky to the point where like I literally felt like I was having like
nerve, like you were shaking a lot.
So but then I found out later on that it's probably from the epidural.
Mixed probably
with the nerves and like everything. So it was like, it was okay. So around 10 o'clock came in, they're like, okay, let's go, let's start pushing. So we started pushing.
We did.
And we pushed.
Yeah.
And we pushed. And we pushed. An hour and a half later, I looked at the nurse and I was like, I physically cannot do this anymore. Is there anything else we can do? And at this point, there was nothing. So I just had to keep pushing and waiting and waiting and waiting. So then, it was a 2-hour mark, and she finally had her head like.
Yeah, so at that point, I was standing beside Cass, holding her hand, and we were counting. I was counting. You were doing your breathing. It was really good. Like, you know, we're crushing.
Good tag team.
And we start to see a little bit of her hair come out, and that was really cute. And
they asked him if he wanted to touch it, and he goes, okay. So he did it the next time.
I definitely touched it. It was so cute. And then we start to see the head, and at that point, because they found a little bit of Nora's stool in the water when they tested it, they had the room, and it was like a pretty big room, and it was full of doctors, and like one doctor, but nurses
everywhere.
Like I'd probably say we had like
at least 15.
Yeah, about 15 nurses, and then the birthing doctor there. And it got intense afterwards. Like at the point where the head started to crown, it moved really quickly. Really
fast. Like I really don't even remember a lot. So, and also it's a little bit stressful talking about this part because it really, really hurt. So this is Ty.
Okay, so we are now getting to the point where the head is crowning. The doctor looks at Cass and says, okay, Cass, you're going to be pushing one more time. And when I tell you to stop pushing, you stop pushing. And she counts up. We do the 10 seconds, push, 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 push. we see Nora's head come out. And at that point, the doctor says, "Whoa, that's a big baby." And she looks at Cass and says, "Cass, you have to be prepared. I have to go in there. You got to push as hard as you can. The arm might be broken." And you know, at that point, you feel kind of helpless because you can't really do anything, but except for, you know, hold your hand.
Waiting and hoping that everything was going to be okay.
Out of all of the nurses that come and help, while the doctor's telling Cass about potentially Nora's broken arm, a nurse in the corner comes over, quietly grabs a stool, steps on the stool, and like goes right beside me. I take a step back, kind of close to Cass's head at that point, and looks at the doctor. They go 1, 2, 3. At that point, the nurse jumps off the stool and presses so hard down on Cass's pelvic area. And the doctor at the same time pulled Nora. They did it one more time. Nora didn't really go at that point. Nora's head's kind of coming out. It's a little blue at that point.
Yeah.
And they go 1, 2, 3, boom! And Nora just comes right out. And she was blue. She wasn't breathing at that point. They instantly lift her up, and she was a big baby. Like, she was really big, and they put her into the ventilator. And I just remember just
waiting to hear her cry.
Yeah, just putting my head into Cass and just saying, "Come on, come on, come on." And yeah, she was stunned, and hearing her cry after the 30 seconds for the first time was the best. It was the best sound I've ever heard. It was so nice. It was just such a beautiful sound. We didn't even know what the gender was until the birthing doctor was like, "Hey, what gender was it?" And the nurse that was on the ventilator said it was a girl.
Yeah, so then we knew it was baby Nora.
Baby Nora. And it was kind of sad because we didn't actually end up getting any skin-on-skin contact.
We got none of that. The second she started crying, they took her right away into the NICU.
Yeah, so and Nora was big, so they weighed her, and she weighed 11 pounds. And
everyone in the room was like, 11 pounds? And they're like looking at us like, okay, what happened? And we're all like, we don't know what happened.
But, you know, Cass just gives birth to an 11-pound baby, and you're not done yet.
No. Then they come up to me. After everything's over there, then they come up to me and start pushing on my stomach again. I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, we have to remove the placenta. I'm like, great. So basically I had to give birth twice, like having twins, pretty much.
So it was an 11-pound Nora, and then how heavy was it?
I believe it was an 8-pound placenta. So I pretty much birthed 20 pounds. And it was, I can't even explain.
Honestly though, you're a superhero. That was incredible.
I literally was looking around the room, like, where are the Grey's Anatomy's film crew? I swear, I was like, anyone? No? Okay, it's real life? Okay.
It was crazy, and while poor Cass was getting stitched up, I was elated. I was so happy. I was giving everyone a hug.
Even though it was COVID.
Yeah, I didn't think about COVID at that time. I was just so happy.
Which was so nice.
Yeah, it was really nice.
It was good.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was, for me anyways, I didn't even go through it, like push Nora out, but it was scary, but
and then I finally got to go to the room to see Nora, and they told me that they did all the x-rays and everything, and there was nothing broken or anything, which was I was so happy about that because I didn't know what to do about a little baby having a broken cast. Like,
yeah. And she has a cute little birthmark on her shoulder.
Yeah, from being pulled out.
Yeah, it's so cute.
Which is nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
You know, so we can always remember it.
I'm sure you won't forget.
No, never. So that was really nice. And then I got to breastfeed her for the first time. And then I come back to the room, and Ty was just sitting on the floor waiting for me because he did not know where we were going, and they just left him in there. They really don't care about husbands. They really just care about the wives and the...
Which is fair.
Which is fine.
It's fair. But we went from a room having like 20 people in it, and like all the nurses, the doctor, Cass, myself.
To just Ty.
To them wheeling Nora away. All the nurses are like, holy, big placenta, bye. And the Cass can barely walk, but the girl, it was like...
No, I had a
Did you get
wheelchair.
wheelchaired?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was sick.
Getting pushed in a wheelchair.
Sick.
And I was sitting there for like an hour by myself, like, I hope she's okay. I still didn't have a blanket or anything. I just had the Waterloo jacket.
Yeah. But
That was
all in all,
nice,
that
though.
was our birth story.
Yeah, that was really nice, and it was it's something that a lot of you in our inner circle in our community really haven't heard, and it
No.
was crazy. To kind of recap, we did during COVID. Nora was 11 pounds. Cass is a superhero.
So is he, by the way. He held my hand for the whole 2.5 hours and did not let go and counted the whole time with the nurses. He was like a little nurse on the side. It was cute.
It was really fun for me. I'm sure not for you.
And
I'm happy to know that I could be called a hero, and all I have to do is hold your hand and
yeah, that's nice.
count.
Yeah,
That's nice.
that's nice.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
There we go. This is our birth story.
All right. See you next time.
Bye, guys.